This is the presentation on serious sports injury, emergency action planning, and risk management issues. Louisiana Athletic Care's mission to you with our partners, our school systems, public and private, our hospital partners, sports medicine fellowship trained and board certified orthopedic surgeons, physical therapy clinics, concussion solutions, and our other specialty fields partners that we have. Together, we are all dedicated to providing a prompt and skillful athletic training service to you and your athletes, as well as promoting a safe environment for your athletes to pursue their goals. Many of you have probably received this email from the LHSAA or one of your administrators at school, and talks about how Act 259 has been written into BESI rules for the upcoming school year, BESI Bulletin 135, pages 11 to 13. And it talks about comprehensive EAPs with venue-specific plans and annual review. LAC has been doing that for your school since 2016. Pre-game administrative conferences and medical timeouts. That has been a practice for athletic trainers since 2010. During that time, it was mainly individual. The athletic trainer would discuss and with the head coach and the referees for the pre-game conference. The last 2 or 3 years, we've collectively come together as a group between coach and athletic trainer, administrators and security and referees and EMS personnel together to take medical timeouts to meet the updated standards. We've been having safeguards to remove injured athletes. That's been the mission of Louisiana Athletic Care since 2004, providing your athlete a safe environment to participate in. We've been doing annual education for all coaches on heat and concussion, as well as risk management, environmental concerns. We've been practicing that since 2010. Heat and wet bulb globe monitoring has been in effect. We've had heat illness in our emergency action plan since 2010. And our wet bulb globe use has been since 2018. This summer, you should have received, or most of our schools have caught up to standard with having a cold plunge tub on campus to also be able to react when an athlete succumbs to heat illness. Louisiana Serious Sports Injury Law, formerly known as Act 352, it was renamed the Remy Hidalgo Act this past summer. So this past summer, the state legislature, renamed Serious Sports Injury Law the Remy Hidalgo Act after an athlete from Denham Springs, a football player who collapsed and passed away that day after football practice while waiting for his ride after succumbing to heat illness. In the law, serious sports injury is defined as an injury that results in sports-specific loss of function. It mandates education requirements for coaches and school officials, as well as parents and students. Evaluation procedures, it defines that when an athlete succumbs to an injury, it must be determined if there is a sports-specific loss of function. If there is a sports-specific loss of function, example, your wide receiver for football can't make his cuts on his routes anymore, so he has lost his sports-specific function. That athlete needs to be removed from play and referred to MD or DO for an evaluation and clearance. And once they return from that clearance, they have to go through a graduated stepwise progression before fully returning to sport without any restrictions. Visually, this is what it looks like. Up at the top, is there a loss of function with serious sports injury? Yes or no? Yes, we want to remove the athlete from participation and seek medical assistance. No, there is no loss of function. That athlete continues participation. If there's a healthcare provider on the sideline, they're evaluated. Then we determine if there's a return to play medical clearance status. If there isn't a loss of function after evaluation, provide first aid, tape up the ankle, let the athlete go back and play. But if they do lose their sports-specific function, they need to be evaluated by the MD or DO. Emergency action planning. Our venue-specific emergency action plans, you can see that page on the right. This single page is a part of a much larger document where we go into more details talking about all the parties involved in their roles when it comes to responding to an emergency. We talk about communication with EMS, where emergency equipment is stored. Emergency heat management protocols have been added to the EAPs a couple of summers ago. General lightning protocols as well. And obviously you see the venue-specific plan. Also discussed in the greater document is the topic of medical timeouts. and what is discussed during those times. Your athletic trainer will go over your emergency action plan with you individually at some point before the start of the school year if they have not done so already. They will also follow up with you with a individual sports specific EAP review to make sure everyone knows their roles. Medical timeouts are a crucial part in the final stages of planning for emergencies. Typically involves the school administrators and coaches, athletic trainers, EMS, anyone else involved in emergency response, possibly security or event security, policemen. The medical timeout, we're discussing the emergency response. How do we, as a group, collectively respond to a collapsed athlete, a suspected spine injury, if we need to use the AED or splints? We're going to talk about signals for specific emergency responses, suspected spine injuries. AEDs will have designated signals talked about and discussed before the event between the athletic trainer and EMS as well as coaches. We're going to talk about the field access for the ambulance, location of emergency equipment, heat and humidity adjustments that we're making, and any lightning plans should we suspect inclement weather during that event. All of our school systems are handed out the athletic training policy handbook at the beginning of each year. This book is put together with collaborations from our medical directors, our athletic trainers, as well as our parish superintendents and private school headmasters, principals, and administrators. Important education topics are included in here, talking about pre-participation exams, reporting of injuries and protocol, and weather protocol. We'll go over specifically reporting of injuries here in a bit. We're going to establish guidelines for the use of student aides as managers, as well as athletic training room or athletic training facility expectations and regulations. This also included is our standing orders. These are documents signed off by our medical directors that allow athletic trainers to practice as they do under the Louisiana State Board of Medical, Louisiana State Board of Medical Examiners, as they oversee our state license. Also in there are these items. We talk about accident coverage policies for athletes, general medicine, weather protocols, serious sports injury laws written into there, as well as all our medical protocols on the right. Here you see the educational handouts for the student and parent. All the way to the left, you'll see our Louisiana Athletic Care Emergency Contact Form. That has been updated and sent out to athletic trainers to send out to coaches and athletic directors earlier this summer. It is accompanied with the serious sports injury law education, as you see in the middle. And the top page on the right is our concussion sheet. The 3 pages behind that represent the educational handouts that we give to teachers once a student athlete has received a concussion. So this year, or this year and last year, the physical packets as it relates to education and medical history from the athletic trainer has been shaved down to 3 pages for you guys. Despite all of our generic recommendations that are made in our policies and medical handouts, keep in mind every athlete needs to individualize their training and competition regimens, as well as their healing and recovery times. Each athlete is going to be different, and just making sure that we keep that in mind. If you have the opportunity, please visit our website, laathleticare.com, and find our service survey linked at the top of the webpage on our homepage. Information from you on how we're doing or what we could do to better the service is of great importance to us. If you have any questions, reach out to your athletic trainers about the content material that was presented to you today. If they're not able to answer it, they have direct contact to us, and we'll be in touch. Otherwise, thank you and have a great year. Last but not least, a special thanks to our healthcare providers, Opelousas General Health Systems, and Dr. Phil Basilla, a board-certified sports medicine trained orthopedic surgeon operating out of the Opelousas Orthopedic Center. Thank you guys for your time, and I hope you have a great year.